Welcome back to the Bay Area Examiner Film Room. I'm Seth Varnadore. Thank you for joining us here on patreon.com/Bay Area Examiner, or if you're watching this later in the week on YouTube, the Bay Area Examiner YouTube page. We're going to take a look back at USF's very disappointing loss against the Navy. It seemed like there was some execution issues, obviously, on defense, possibly some plan issues. I don't know. We'll take a kind of a deeper look at it, and then on the offensive side of the ball, kind of a slow start. When I don't know, it felt like the game went to script once they kind of got going. You felt like USF's athletes were a lot better than Navy's. If you get them out in space, you'd have a really good shot to move the ball, and they did, but they didn't do that as much early. So we'll take a look at why and maybe why there's some issues on the day. So let's go ahead and get into the film. So starting here with the Navy's first drive. Good job here of not taking all the eye candy. The big issue, it seemed like, for the game was safety play. Or at least I thought one of the bigger issues was safety play. But right here, really good job making it look like we're going to motion in, making it look like I'm going to kind of crack here, so I can draw it all the way to here, and then he's actually going to come back across, hard run action this way, try to get kind of a throwback play. So right here makes it look like he's going to crack. This safety comes up to fill. This safety notices it. I believe that's Gaskin, and does a really good job finding it as they come back to it, make a play on the ball. Really good job. So early, there was some decent stuff. Very next play, 2nd and 10. This isn't true triple option, but just a run. It's more like a zone play. Make the play at the line of scrimmage, no gain. You get off the field next play, you're feeling like you're in good shape. So here's where I think a lot of the issues came for USF, potentially. And it seems like a lot of the big plays for Navy came when there was man coverage, right? With all the motions. And then there's a couple of times USF got caught in blitzes. But right here, Navy's just going to run a jet sweep fake. And then this is not a triple option play. Like, this is not something exclusive to the triple option. It's not something USF has never seen before. So you're going to get kind of a jet sweep fake, and then you're getting just counter back the other way, right? Or almost like power, really, because they're blocking the backside in. So maybe you could call it almost like power OT, right? So he's there. You're getting a puller here. You're getting another puller there. Run fake here, then handing it back there, right? So right now, if I'm down, I'm getting widened by this, and he's chasing that across. Well, I've got nobody back here, right? There's nobody back here for this. So as these guys pull, there's one, there's two. He's getting widened by the motion as well. It seems like there was overplaying the motion a ton, which is hard, right? There's a lot of eye candy, a lot of things going on, get you out of position, but this ball ends up cutting back, and it's really kind of here. You get widened by the motion. He's able to get up and pin you inside here, right? And the ball cuts back, and then your safety, right, who can kind of make you right, sees this and then overruns it a little bit. Like, he's still looking. The ball's been cut vertical. He's still looking out here because I think he thinks it's going to bounce. And that thing cuts back, and then full head of steam, nobody can catch him. So good, could just be, good call. But that seemed to kind of happen quite a bit there as the game went on. A lot, especially with motion, and looks like USF playing man coverage. And then playing man and understanding who's going to bump or how the coverage is going to rotate when there's motion looked really out of sorts, right? So USF's next drive. This is something that was interesting. Kind of now they ended up being able to get over the top a few times, but so Navy, they must feel like Navy's going to bring a ton of pressure because they left the tight end in the back in protection a ton, right? They check release them a lot. So here, fit in the protection. If it's not there, then I can check out. Fit in the protection. If it's not there, I can check out. A lot of their drop back game was that. Now, I think there's some value to getting 5 guys out and spreading them out and making Navy make plays in space. I think that there's some value there, but they seemed really conscious or really afraid of Navy's pass rush and pressure looks. So it seemed to me they didn't get 5 out in the routes a ton. Now, sometimes it didn't matter, right? Because right here, only get 3 out in a route. But I can win this matchup seemingly, it felt like whenever I wanted to. And you also see at the bottom of the screen, the protection's fine. We can push it vertical. You've got the post here at the bottom of the screen as well. So you probably could have won those matchups outside a little bit more and maybe could have attacked those a little bit more. I'm sure Navy got into some zone looks and things, some deep zone looks, and you kind of do throw your pick is kind of a heavy zone look, but I don't know. It felt like there was more to attack outside for USF if they wanted to. So here's the 3rd and 7. They run kind of a mesh concept, which they run a ton in the low red zone area. This is one you usually run. Not always, but it's kind of, this one's more if you're expecting man coverage, it feels like. But it's not all for that. So I think he's running to the post. Off the motion, he's to the flat. And then you got mesh here. So, I've got some options. So Byram, thing is looking here. He sees that expand. I don't know if he may be running to the corner potentially. It's hard to tell. But as I'm kind of looking here, he's obviously coming to pick right there. As I'm looking here and I see this expand, well, where's the next hole? The next hole is kind of right there. So I'm looking for Singleton to get into that window. You have a pretty good pocket here. Feels like I can kind of, right now, I can kind of rip this thing on this. There's nothing coming back this way. I mean, just look at all the bodies I've got here, right? I've got 3 guys for 1 guy that's going to be coming back to this side. Now, if it's man coverage, right, and I should get a pretty good indicator of this based on the motion, right? If it's man coverage, then I might have a chance to throw this thing all the way back because he can get caught up in the wash a little bit. But zone, I probably want to stick to this side here, this front side, and kind of if they expand with that. So it could be, I'm not sure if he's got a corner. It's hard to tell. Corner or post. I don't have the all 22. He could probably run a corner, and you're high-lowing as well. But right there, if I kind of just stick it on him right now, let him run, catch and run, he could probably pick up the 7. Byram takes off, which is never a bad idea. But I think you got a better chance if you just drop it down to Singleton. So you end up having to settle for a field goal there, which I was a little surprised. Maybe I guess Goalish felt like they had a really good defensive game plan. But going into the game, it certainly felt like this was going to be a game where you had to get up early and kind of outscore them to set the game in your favor in terms of style of play, right? You'd want Navy trying to chase points like they did against North Texas. I think the more you do that, the more they'll turn it over and you can kind of get up on them. You let them dictate their terms, it's tough to beat them. And that's kind of what happened. So next drive, 3rd and 5. So a little motion here. But this is kind of pin pull, almost like so you're going to get down blocks. Center's going to pull and kick the end here. And then you're going to get a wrapper from the tackle, right? So tackle wraps, down, kick. We're down inside. your linebacker's getting super wide for some reason. All right, he widens, almost takes himself out of the play here. And then right here, he goes inside. You kind of go to quarter this off and don't even see the run kind of happen. See it a little bit late, right? So kick, pull, and the Navy kind of receivers are running almost routes, and you're kind of flying with it. So these are kind of like RPOs, but you're not really throwing them. I think they're just running the routes to kind of get you displaced because they know your coverage rules too. And all of Navy's pass stuff is pretty much, not all, but a lot is off play action. So if they can kind of get you to cover your pass rules, and they can, get you covering those pass rules and then run it in the spaces they know you're going to vacate, that's a good plan, right? So right here, you get a fumble. Big right there, big stop. Any stop in this game was big, and now you got more than I think it felt like in the game. You just weren't able to take advantage of them very often. And we see a similar story play out here. So we get to 3rd and 3 after the turnover. A really good call here for the screen. Good job by Singleton getting vertical. Getting what he can out of it. So really good stuff. Especially if you think Navy is going to be a pressure team, which to me, you see how many times they kept the back and the tight end in the backfield. That signifies for me they're expecting a ton of pressure and possibly maybe on 3rd down a lot. But so you see Navy bring pressure. We talked to Mike James of the Mid Report last week. He said Navy likes to bring pressure. But right here, you see 3rd and 10. Look how many guys you got out in a route. 3. Navy brings 5. Your tight end gets out super late, but there's no real space right here. You're outnumbered, and everybody seems to be, for the most part, looks like going vertical. It's hard to see the route combinations here, so I can't really speak to that too much. But nothing's open. You're forced to kind of pull the ball down. And again, you're only getting 3 out in the route. The tight end gets out late, kind of steps up, makes sure nobody's coming. End up losing right here. You have a pretty good pocket. Forced to pull it down, get a sack. So you get the turnover, but don't really get anything out of it. So Navy comes back. This is a concept they use later. So he ends up blocking the corner here. He's going to run a curl. He's going to motion in and run a flat. So you got curl flat, and then you got him up the seam, basically, off the play action look. So it's hard to tell exactly how it's supposed to play out here. You have one high safety. Your corner's off to the field or to the boundary. Your corner of the field is up. He's widening. It could be a zone where he's widening to the flat, but I think it looks like he's playing man. He appears to have eyes on the receiver. It's hard to tell. I don't think he's looking through to. It's difficult to tell. Regardless, there's supposed to be somebody deep, right? So I don't know if they want him matching the wing and playing man coverage, if he's supposed to just be over the top of everything. But the safety steps down too low. You get no hands on 2, right? I give a free release to the wing back, who's their best player. And then he just runs by me in a pretty good throw. I'm beat for a big play on 2nd and 7. And a really good effort here by Jarvis Lee to get back in the play. But, I guess my question is he supposed to be carrying that up the seam? Because this certainly looks like he's kind of playing man out here. So I don't know. Is he supposed to be carrying that? Or are they kind of playing? Are they playing something where it's 3 over 2 potentially? I don't know. But you kind of bite up on the play action, give him a free release. He gets over the top for a big play. The next play right here, just running kind of speed jet sweep. right? If I'm this guy, I'm praying you jump inside, because then I hardly have to block you. This is a tough block. If I'm really, especially on a really athletic guy, if I'm kind of getting outside and really stringing this thing out, right? Because you have leverage on me, that makes me cut it up inside, and then I got that pursuit coming inside out. But what I'd love for you to do is just jump inside, because that makes it super easy on me. Because if this guy's fast at all and takes a good path, if you jump inside, you've got no chance to make the play. Right here, he jumps inside. The ball never gets turned back inside. Looks like they're playing man, so he squeezes in with the man, just like we saw UTSA last week on USF's big run. Squeezed in with a man, you get 2 for 1 almost, because he blocks him, and you also get that man coverage look right there, and nobody's over the top. You can see USF's a little bit discombobulated here. He's going this way. It definitely looks like man coverage outside, so but you can't give up the edge like that. All right, so USF's ball. 3rd down, a pressure look here. And look at that. I mean, I think if you would have I wonder if they had it to do over again, if they'd say, you know what, F it. Let's just get at least 4 out in the route and take our chances that we can beat the pressure with the ball. Because right here, this is kind of a cool looking, to me, it looks like, I don't know if he's going to get to it, but it looks like a really fun way to run curl flat with him kind of in and then over the ball. So kind of a Hank look, and he's to the flat. I'm not sure if he's outside releasing to run a curl here, but he's got kind of a glance backside. Really good ball here by Byram. Good job staying in the pocket. Good job by the back there. I think that's Alvin Isaac. Lord, a senior moment there. Stepping up, making the hit, and then good ball there on the glance route, right? So, I wonder if after the game you're kind of thinking, man, I kind of wish we'd have just gotten more of this and taken our chances against the pressure looks. Now, you did get some big shots over the top that were protected, but I think they've got other ways to attack pressure. They're keeping 2 guys in. So next play off that, run some zone. Byram holds. You get a good reach there. Byram just presence holds the backside. Guard's able to get up to the backer. Really good job reaching and getting that thing reached right there by the left tackle. He goes outside. Big play on 1st down. And then we missed the other angle of this here, but the touchdown, it's just straight one-on-one outside. It's a Singleton on 17, the same guy he beat earlier on the go ball. And it's not that, it's not like the ball's on, the 45-yard line. 5, 10, there's 15. And he beats him pretty easily in this kind of short period there, right? To be beaten on a go route kind of in that short of a space would imply some physical superiority, I think. So feels like they could have gone to that a little bit more, even if Navy's playing deep zone, right? And this is one of the things about the Bryles offense and this offense that they used to say, far enough down the field and spread out enough, everything becomes a one-on-one. So if I'm pushing it vertical and it's deep third, well, we're 40 yards downfield. Guess what? It's me versus you in this deep third, right? So, and then when I spread you out, there's a lot of room to cover, so you're not going to get any help. So that offense is built on what they think generating one-on-one. So it was kind of interesting to see them maybe not attack those as much as you thought. So this one, I think the timing just gets thrown off here. He's going to motion in, and he's running back out immediately. They're thinking, I think initially you're thinking if it's man and he's got this kind of deep crosser there to the back of the end zone, he's going to chip and then go to the front of the end zone, and then he's going to come across here. I would imagine the look is first. Let's say this corner runs with Singleton. I want to see if I can get that right now. And then if I don't get that, again, kind of like the last one, if I don't get that one, I'm kind of looking for this thing coming across here. Now, maybe that's not how they sell it. Just in terms of the way my eyes would work, I'd look out first, out here. They take that away. Then the next window is this one right here, which maybe it takes too long, but Koger gets to this window because then it's kind of like, all right, if this guy takes away that window and I got the tight end here, they take away that window, I got the thing across the back, right? So I would think my eyes would go bang, 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 all the way to 4. If that's how they're reading it out. Now 1 gets blasted. It wouldn't be open anyways, but 1 gets collisioned. So 2, now maybe he just feels like I need to throw this thing. 2's not there, but 2's in the window. So if I just throw it in this window and let 2 run to it, there's a window right there. I throw it kind of back to 4, which he's got 3 dudes around him, right? It's Navy played, zone basically. They didn't play man. You end up getting kind of him squeezing this thing, so you get almost the benefits of man here where he'd be there. Now, maybe he didn't think he was going to squeeze, so he canceled that early. But it's just this is a tough look to throw that back. I think they probably anticipated man coverage, but, they didn't get it. Now, the next 2 2-point plays were really well done. So, the other teams get to call plays too. You're not going to have the perfect play every time. So here's one, just wanted to put on here, right? So I don't know what the plan was for the triple option. It seemed like a lot of times this backer was tackling the dive. So you'll see kind of some teams where they'll have him tackle the dive. And then I'm guessing they had the end as the quarterback player. And then the safety it seemed like the other backer as kind of the pitch player. I don't know. We'll see as we look forward. There's a few times where I'm trying to figure out who's got the dive because it seems like they're playing right. Because this certainly looks like Deshaun Rucker right here, right? So it seemed like the plan was at times to play the corners inside and then play the safeties outside or detached to try to play. So he could play man coverage on the passing threat, and then we could kind of figure it out from there, right? So now here, so he's kind of, if he's playing man coverage, he's not reading anything. And so if he's taking the dive, right, then I'm the quarterback. I'm looking who's going to take the dive, right? He goes inside. So, all right, that tells me pull it. And then now he's blocking most dangerous. So he'll pick that. And so then now you got, all right, who's your pitch player? Okay, well, I'm the pitch guy. I've been the pitch guy all week in practice. Well, who's the quarterback player? So is this the dive guy and this is the quarterback guy? Well, I'll block the quarterback guy. You take the dive. Oh, no quarterback guy. So I don't know. It's so hard to tell how these things play out because it could just be a guy busts or, but it certainly looked like it wasn't the end taking the dive, which I think can be tough at times. So here's a look. Motion. Jet sweep. Let's see how they play the motion across. So the corner stays. Safety bounces with the motion. And you don't really see, right, how many yards deep is the safety right here? Safety's at what? If this is 10 yards for a first down, safety's at 8. Let's see how deep he is when the ball's handed off. 7 and screaming downhill. Well, hey, you know what that might signify to me? If I run this look, I'm probably not going to have anybody deep in the middle of the field, possibly because nobody, it's not like I rotated back with the motion, right? So the very next play, right? I think you kind of get caught here in a blitz as well. So it looks like you're bringing a blitz here. He's trying to get wide outside to take away the jet sweep. Safety's getting over the cross, or getting over the top, running with the jet. And here's your safety. I'm not sure if it's his job to cover that or if it's his job to cover that potentially. But neither of them do. And that's how you get somebody wide open like that in the middle of the field. All right, so here's the interception. Again, only getting 3 out here. Now, I'm pretty sure they're kind of running wide cross. They just don't have the dig attached backside. So he's going to run a big post over the top. He's going to run a deep crosser. He's going to be to the flat, right? So I'm kind of thinking this coverage look right here. Safety spins down, right? So I'm looking for the post. If I'm thinking, all right, this guy's spinning down to take it away, well, then I should just high-low this guy right here, right? Because look at if I just kind of high-low him and he goes high, drop it right here. Make him tackle in space. It's an easy, for 2nd and 7, probably picks up the first down, at least gets me to a decent spot. What you can't do is just kind of chuck it. And I don't know if it was tipped or not, but that thing came out weird. And, maybe you're thinking, all right, well, he's not deep enough. I'm going to throw it 10 yards over his head here, right? There's some validity to that. That, hey, what I'm really doing is trying to clear him out. And this guy is not going to be able to get deep enough underneath this thing, right? He's not going to be able to get, unless he turns in sprints, I'm going to be behind him. Let's say I'm throwing it to like the 50. All right, maybe with some air to the 50, it's a race. I got a shot. But still, Lord, 2nd and 7. Pick up a first down. What you can't do is this. Your defense does a pretty good job holding up here and only gives up 3. But you probably could have gotten beat here. So this is kind of interesting. They played Watson off the ball outside post here. You get him matched up on a pretty good skill guy here. And he's got to carry the wheel up the sideline. A better throw beats him. Now, you do get illegal man downfield, so it wouldn't have counted. But still, you're in a tough spot right here. And again, what are we playing? I'm not sure. Is it possible we're playing like an inverted Tampa 2 and he's the middle of the field player and he can come play run and maybe I'm deep half, and I'm a flat player. Maybe. That could be. But that dude gets open. Better ball wins. All right, so you hold him to a field goal, which, hey, not to be, Byram's obviously your best player and it keeps you in a lot of these games and wins you a lot of games, but crippling interception against Memphis leads directly to a touchdown. You lose by 3. Would have been nice to have that field goal off the board later in this game. But here you go, 2nd and 7. Again, kind of check releasing here. We're not out in the route. We're check releasing. But you got kind of the vertical choice there. Playing off wins. Easy pitch and catch for a first down there. Kind of go stutter go down here. Hitch and go. With a deep crosser. Byram makes it go with his legs here. 2nd and 7. Again, I'm only getting 3 out in a route. If I'm getting 3 out in a route and you're bringing pressure, well, then I'm all right. You bring pressure, but let's count the rushers. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means you're dropping 7 guys in coverage against my 3 out in a route. It's going to be really hard for me to get out there. Now, this was good to see from Byram. Just take the check down. right? Because that's what you got to do if they do get, if that's how it works. Take the check down, pick up yards that they're going to play, those guys that deep, just methodically work it down the field. So great job right there, taking the check down. So then you got 1st and 10 here. This is one where it's just, you got a pretty decent play on here. You're going to kind of go zone slice, it looks like here. And you got your guard coming to a second level player, a linebacker, outside backer possibly. And if you get that block there and this block here, your receiver is coming in to crack kind of the safety. So probably need to go a little bit flatter on my angle or go get him. This receiver kind of slow plays it here. So I get beat across face. And then I also get right here. Takes it to me. If I get this thing blocked and I can kind of hit this thing, I might be able to get off that edge right there potentially. But this gets compressed, so I got to step in it. The receiver doesn't get there. 1st and 10 goes for, a gain of 2 against what could have been a pretty good play there. So get to a 3rd and 4 here. Again, not a bad call. To the wide side of the field here. Right here, you look like you're in really good shape. This Navy backer does a really good job of playing this and slowing it down. And they played it pretty well. Maybe a tough spot there, but at worst, you're in a 4th and 1, which they did some good stuff later. So they had some short yardage opportunities later and did not do this. So I know this is their 4th down play, but man, you just get stood up at the line of scrimmage, right? Navy, listen, this would be one team I'm not, I'm sure has seen some short yardage situations in camp, where we're going to be pretty good at submarining people. So they just go really low, just submarine it. And, how often, to me, when USF's under center, right, they haven't done a ton under center, right? So you're probably going to have guys play the quarterback based on what they did last year. Then everybody else is just here. We're probably going to pinch and then be ready for thinking quarterback sneak because you showed quarterback sneak a few times. So I just submarine this thing. And then my linebackers come in and you got no shot, right? So I'm also, right, here's the other thing about some of the short yardage situations, right? You've decided that your best course of action at center is Cole Best, right? He's your starter. Short yardage, Cole Best is not your center. Mike Lofton is your center. And he just gets beat underneath, causes the pile up right there. And a good chance to go in before the half and make this a 1-score game goes away. So Navy gets the ball back. They're just running. This is not a new concept. A ton of people run this that aren't running the triple options. It's just like a snag concept or a Y corner concept if you're in the air raid. Free release. Good throw, good route. So, but no points on the board to get to halftime. Again, it was kind of a gambit to play, right? USF, again, keeps 5 guys in protection initially. This is all check. Or keeps instead of having 5 out, they keep 7 in protection, right? They keep the 2 backs in protection, or they keep the tight end in the back in protection. So now I'm trying to push the ball downfield again with 7 guys, only 4 rushers. So I could check it down. Byram does a good job. He's going to have forever to throw. Makes a great play. Great catch here. Nice explosive play. But again, it was interesting just to see USF be so wary of the pressure. Here they bring pressure right here. Look how they deal with it here. Just throw it outside and make guys tackle in space. I think that's kind of I wonder if that would be their plan, their preferred plan, playing it again, right? Just rip it outside and make dudes tackle in space. Because right here, all right, easy 7 yards on first down. Second down, go like quarterback follow, but it's almost like I think it's a dart here. No, it's not. It's just you're pulling almost like quarterback power with the follow action. So you're pulling the guard, the back is the lead blocker. Right. So if it's just true quarterback power, true like old school power, you'd have a kick out right here. You'd have the guard wrapping inside. They go, and then the follow concept is where I kind of fake it to the back here, and then he ends up blocking for me, and I go and follow him, right? That's kind of a trendy concept in spread football right now. So that's going to kind of down, pull, follow, catch Navy in a good, right? So it just happens sometimes. Navy trying to jump inside here, so they log it. And now he's trying to jump outside. Byram does a good job reading his blocks and getting vertical. And he's hard to tackle and pressure. And this is kind of like, well, maybe something like this on a short yardage situation, you feel better about, because it gives Byram the opportunity to pull it if they overplay it or they play a little too aggressively. He pulls it, gets a touchdown, right? All right, so coming back 3rd and 7. This is pretty much the same concept they scored on here. He's going to release up the seam, it looks like, and then they're running curl flat here. Do a pretty good job in terms of Navy does in timing this up. Good timing, just late, a little bit late there. Pick up the first down. 3rd and 8 here. You do a great job. In phase, no penalty, great job. And then, unfortunately, very next play, you run into the kicker. So 4th and 8, you're getting the ball back with 7:45. The other part of this is not just the time. Obviously, I think it ends up being like 2 minutes off the clock. But so you'd get it at the 17-yard line, which the time is important, but also when you end up actually getting it is you get it at the 6-yard line. So I'm backed up I'm taking the snap in my own end zone, basically, right? When I'm in the shotgun, I'm pretty close to it. So that kind of limits the way I'm going to call the game, right? That USF kind of goes run, pass 2 times backed up, which is a little surprising, but all right, so here we go. Let's see. Who's the dive player? All right, who's the quarterback player? I don't know. And maybe they're changing it. Maybe this time the end was the dive player. But maybe he's the dive player. I don't know. Let's see. Who plays the dive? Well, if he's playing the dive, then he's got to play the quarterback when he's out of phase. But this guy kind of slow plays playing the dive. So is he the dive player and I'm the quarterback player? I don't know. Pull it and pitch it. Make a pretty, decent tackle out here in space. But again, this is like too easy. Who's who? It's hard to tell. And I think when it's hard to tell, maybe that means there's some confusion, right? This one's just kind of unlucky here. So you get 4th and 3. Did we miss something? No. All right, so 4th and 3. Go flea flicker. You're kind of all over it here. But again, let's see if it's probably 4th and 3. Who's got, basically who's got that? It looks like it's, my safety's at 4 yards, so I doubt we're playing some kind of 3 deep zone or anything, right? So who's got 24? Very nosy, get beat off the line of scrimmage, then have to recover a really badly thrown ball. And I think this is one that could have probably not been called just because of how poor the throw was. But you kind of get beat off the line of scrimmage and then aren't able to find the football. So, all right, so later on in the game, we're in the fourth quarter now. Pretty similar concept here to the first time they ran it. Where on the pick, you're going to get a big post, a deep crosser. What they did differently this time is they had a dig, and then they had him to the flat here. And the back is kind of a check down. So it's basically Y cross. Now, the safety doesn't get deep enough, or he kind of plays a crosser. Now, the throw is not the best, but it's enough to get you the penalty, right? So they roll him down, drop him to the middle. He sees the crosser coming across and takes that. So you like the post. And this, right, the way they have the crosser here, or they have the shallow here, and then this right in front of there, you've got probably a better chance of getting this crosser with a post clearing this guy out, right? He's running with the post. And then you have the underneath defenders occupied by something immediately, right? So he's occupied by this. He's occupied by that. So if I do end up throwing the crosser here, it's going to be a little bit more open than the last time, right? So here's a crosser, right? So I could rip that, and look how much more open it is than the last time you ran it. But I do like taking the shot on the post at the safety, right? You kind of tell the quarterback, hey, if the safety's not bailing out to the middle of the field, rip it over his head, right? So he does get a penalty. Great. Light box here. Navy's going to bring pressure. Really good job. Seems like they could throw these if they wanted to. Right, bubble here. I don't know if he could throw this one or not. And maybe just the bubble. But you're going to get kind of like a quarterback ISO here. And with the pass, you get a light box. And again, you kind of call a really good one into what they were doing. And then you get your best player in space. Good things happen. All right, so 2-point play here. So after running these guys in and back across, it looks like they wanted to have them in and then back out. And then run him kind of on the back of the end zone. It's the crazy part is it's just very like you watch this and you're like, man, why don't you just throw the ball every down? Because Navy's kind of out of sorts here, and you got 3 guys out in a very condensed space. And it feels like you could have just whipped it around a little bit. So, but really good design there. 2nd and 8. All right, so where's he come from? Wing here with the motion. So, if you're playing man, then there's just some confusion here about what you're playing, I think, because, basically it's hard to tell if it's supposed to be man, like cover 1, and they're kind of going to rotate back. They don't bump it across, so it's not like he's running with him, so it's not like straight man coverage. But he kind of rolls down. If he's rolling down, he's going to roll the middle. He stays locked here. He looks like he's got eyes inside, almost like they could be playing like a 3-by-1 check, or he's reading, I don't know, like they're playing. But as soon as the motion happens, he's flying outside. So I'm assuming he's flying for this. And he's kind of going to the same spot. He's running flat outside for the same thing. And then the guy that ends up having to make the play over here is not your safety pre-snap. It's this guy has to get all the way back across and run with that. I don't know. You're just so out of sorts here. And it's just motion into a 3-by-1. So How many guys do you have playing the flat? I mean, you got 2 guys playing the flat right here. And nobody, and just giving 2 a free release. So then right here, all right, so who's the quarterback player? Who's the dive player? Who's the pitch player? Well, the end takes the dive. So who's the quarterback player? Is the linebacker? Because he's looking inside here. Is it the safety? If the safety is the quarterback player, if it's going to be like, all right, I am in here, I'm playing pitch, well, then he's looking inside too. So who's the quarterback player? I don't know. And if you can't tell, it's probably not great, I would imagine. I mean, I'm not a defensive guru guy, so I've never had to prepare for the triple option. But it seems like if you can't tell who had what responsibility, probably not great. So, all right, 3rd and 10 here. 7 minutes left. Good hard run by Byram. Here you get 4 out in the route. Not sure what the route combination was here. You have like a speed dig here. I think he's like throwing him by to run a curl. You have a dig here and another dig here. I'm not sure if there's a bust here or something because these are a lot of things going on in the same. I'm assuming somebody busted their route, so Byram does a good job of getting what he can. Get you to a 4th and 1 here. All right, get you to a 4th and 1. You go fast. And then again, play with a little tempo, get guys out in space, right? So the previous 4th and 1, their 4th and 1 play was just get a bunch of dudes in here, compress it, and let Navy kind of play in a phone booth, rip it out, make them play in space, pick up the 1st down. This is a really good call here. Really great catch by Davenport here. Just a great catch. I mean, that is a hard ball to catch. And if he doesn't catch that, that's a fumble. So nice snag and then turning around, making the play downfield. When you go with tempo, this eye candy stuff can be so tough because you're just hoping to get lined up. Like, especially out of this look, what is my check to like a quad or what is my check to a diamond look? I don't know. I got one check. I got to figure out, remember what it is. And now you get this out of it. Really good stuff there. And then that you're going to go. So then you got that and you miss the extra point, which is tough, right? So you make that extra point. You don't give them the turnover right before the half and give them those 3 points. You got a tie game right now. And this is the stuff that's like, it feels like it's happened a couple of times where motion's coming, you're almost running across, and then you get a blitz. Well, they're running pin pull or kind of a counter look, but they're pin pull. So I'm pulling for here, then I'm pulling for here. Who do you got left? Like, who's left? There ain't nobody left. So, I mean, it's just like and this is not like triple option exclusive. Now, all the other eye candy and stuff could maybe it gives you some issues, but a ton of teams run jet sweep and quarterback counter the other way or quarterback pin pull the other way. This is not like it's not like nobody runs this. It's not like you've never seen it before. So I don't know, a little frustrating, and I'm sure the coaches are frustrated too because it's not like some new play. It's just kind of the same stuff, and they just ran it really well. Navy's really good on offense, which is so good job here by Byram. They're starting to get 5 out in the route, and even with 5 out in the route, Navy's just playing soft zone. So Byram tucks it, 1st and 10, picks up 7, 6. Get you in a 3rd and manageable. You get a 3rd and 2 here, and again, instead of kind of compressing everyone into the box, widen them out and take your throws in space. Good block there, and then really good run after the catch here. So it felt like this was kind of what you thought you'd get from USF more is kind of, hey, make Navy play in space, make those guys tackle your really good athletes in space, and see how it works. And they weren't able to do it, but it feels like you didn't get to it quite quick enough. Now, the whole offense is kind of predicated on that, so I can't really say they didn't get to that. It's not like they weren't doing that in the first half, but just getting 5 guys out in the route, or quick. If you're worried about pressure, throw it quick, throw screens outside, make them tackle on the perimeter. Cool design here. A ton of teams run this kind of shielded screen, where they just throw it to this guy and he just gets in. USF just runs kind of a pump and go shielded screen. Like he's going out, let him feel like he's unblocked, so he's going to come get it. And then I slip it. Really well designed. Nice catch there. And now, hey, 3 points would be pretty cool right now. And then I thought this was egregious. Like, this is so terrible. You're trying to, get off the field. You do not a great job, but right here, forward progress. He's going backwards right there. So you're here, he's backwards. So I've not been in the rule book too much, but I would assume once you start going backwards and somebody's got a pretty firm grasp on you, your forward momentum would be stopped. He's going backwards right here. The whistle should have been blown. It should have been 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. And then we'll see what happens from there. But instead, you let this pile get pushed for a first down. It's ridiculous. But can't blame that. You had plenty of chances to win the game before that, and you didn't take advantage. So unfortunate. Both USF losses in conference have been, tight games and games you thought were pretty winnable, and that's the unfortunate part. You didn't win either. So if you win one, you're probably locked into the conference championship game, likely, and then a really good chance to be in the playoff. Instead, you win neither. So unfortunate there, but there's still a little hope for a conference championship game appearance. A lot has to go in your favor, but hey, man, the American seems pretty topsy-turvy at times. So he might have a shot. So thank you guys for listening and watching the Bay Area Examiner Film Room. I am Seth Varnadore. We'll be back next week, win or lose. I mean, maybe not if they lose. I don't think they should lose, but we'll be back next week taking a look at the UAB game. Thank you for being a patron on Patreon. If you're seeing this early, if you're seeing this later on in the week, thanks for checking us out on YouTube. If you want this early and you want extra preview podcast, a really in-depth advanced stats looked at each game, and access to our kind of insiders Discord, check us out, patreon.com/Bay Area Examiner. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.